Hello everyone, this is Defne from EIR project. Today I will introduce you our approach to determine exchange information requirements for metro projects in Turkey. EIR is one of the tender documents that sets out project information delivery procedures, standards, and processes to be adopted by all project stakeholders along the life cycle for projects with BIM use. It mainly has three main requirements: technical, managerial, and commercial requirements. And when EIR is received by the tenderers within tender documents, tenderers produce their pre-contract BIM execution plan, where they detail their proposal to meet employers' requirements and demonstrate their proficiency in terms of information delivery and management. And then, by using EIR as the reference document, tender responses are evaluated and the contract is awarded. Although since 2014, metro projects in Turkey are BIM-mandated public projects, employers have not yet developed an EIR to standardize those procedures. And in 2019, Istanbul was ranked as the city with the highest number of railway system construction projects progressing at the same time, by 17 ongoing projects. On the left side, you can see a map of the lines under construction right now. As of June 2020, there are 16 metro projects with different scopes such as design, construction, or extension of existing lines commissioned by 13 contractors and 8 design consultants. Integration of BIM into metro projects mainly had two objectives. The first one was standardizing procedures, thus digitalizing of processes, and the second one was to provide accurate data flow to the operating companies. But considering the number of projects, the companies, and the sizes, it's quite challenging to maintain a standard between different projects. And this adds up with there are over 10,000 design documents created for each project that are named according to different protocols, shared within different platforms, and in different exchange formats. And due to lack of employer-mandated standard, each contractor define their own modeling strategies depending on their own internal standards, and this brings a huge mess. And last but not least, it's quite common in Turkey that different teams are in charge of management of the design and construction project and operation and management of the facility itself. So how should we define EIR content? The global standard ISO 19650 only defines the general framework. Therefore, we analyzed 3 sample EIRs from infrastructure projects to establish possible content for EIR of metro projects in Turkey. The first case is from a design and build project located in India, which is of a corridor of regional rapid transit system network covering 12 stations in total. And the second one is the only project that excludes design works, focusing only on construction, which is also located in India and that has 9 stations and a associated viaduct. Case 3 differs from the others with its location and context, as it is a sub-project of a mega project covering 3 bridges and causeways, and it is located in Saudi Arabia. From this slide zone, you will see chapter by chapter comparison of the contents of these samples. The green color represents the aspects that are common in all cases, while blue refers to the ones that are common in 2, and black highlights the ones that are only occurring in once, and red highlights the aspects that are unique to project characteristics. such as in here we see provisions of modeling services with other contractors, since case 2 is a construction project and includes collaboration with other contractors. And regarding technical aspects, most of the aspects that were discussed were common in all three cases, as work principles, data exchange protocols, coordinates, and software platforms. What is worth to mention here is regarding BIM users. Since case 3 is part of a mega project, it has two different BIM use definitions: employer-mandated BIM users, which apply to all projects, and project-specific BIM users that are special to sub-projects, which is a good approach to follow, by the way. And from managerial aspects, we see that most of them are appearing in all, but at different detail. For instance, common data environment is only referred to be detailed in BIM execution plans in case 1, while case 3 assigns the platform, defines the procedures, and also the workflows to be used for review and submissions. There's also a similar case for clash detection procedures. Since case 2 is focusing on the construction phase, it has explicitly detailed clash detection procedures. It even gives the report content and what should be the rules to be used and etc. So what should we have in AER for off-metro projects in Turkey? Thinking of employer might have several contracts, several tenders progressing at the same time. An introduction section is a must that includes project information, associated projects, and BIM objectives and else. And moving on to technical requirements, maybe one of the most critical aspects to be discussed is the BIM users. BIM users must be standardized and have clear definitions within AER. Right now, these BIM users that you can see on the screen are more or less common in metro projects in Turkey, but they only have brief definitions in specifications, and contractors are not really sure about what is expected from them in the end. So this ends up by not doing them properly, or for some of them, not doing them at all. So there should be a standard for the BIM users explaining what is the aim of the employer and what will be the methods and what's the expected outcome to be sure that they will be met in the end. For as in the case of existing conditions modeling, the employer can specify what's the method that they require, as laser scanning, photogrammetry, or using 3D drafting software. And standardizing those BIM users would have an eventual impact on standardizing project outcomes and also model levels, detail levels. As in the case of right now, if you take two models from different projects, you might have a mass model at one side and one of a super detailed model in the end. And these are at completely different levels. But if employer mandates progress tracking to be followed on station models and metro line models, then the contractor has nothing to do but to model those metro lines. Although these definitions at different project phases and coordinate system and modeling practices are also other aspects that should be standardized and specified in here to have comparable models at the end from different projects, which might be later also federated in a master model of cities' metro lines in a later project. Moving on to software platforms and file formats, on screen you can see only a few of the BIM-based software that might be used. There are much more many, but using a standard and putting an application in here would have enormous benefits in terms of reducing incompatibility issues and eliminating possible data loss in conversion. And actually, the employer can recommend or oblige the software that they are using or they are familiar with, or will be used in the later phases of the project to avoid conflict. And let's move on with managerial requirements. As of all three cases did, applicable standards and roles and responsibilities must be defined in EIR, which is obligation for all. And what might maximize our benefits from BIM integration would be defining ERP and computer-aided facilities management systems and their data requirements. This would improve our outcomes from at the level of operation and management side, actually. And as discussed earlier, there are over 10,000 documents, and using a single naming convention would be essential for document management systems. What is also critical as managerial requirements is the definitions related to common data environment platform. If the employer has a single platform that they use, it's better to specify it in here so that the data will be sourced in a single source. It's better for access issues, and also it's better to build up workflows according to their requirements and internal studies that applies to all projects by specifying it in the EIR. All model-related issues, model division strategy, quality assurance criteria, coordination and clash detection procedures should be defined in here to have comparable models in the end from different projects. Last but not least, commercial requirements should include definitions of BIM deliverables such as lightning analysis, CFD analysis, pedestrian analysis, or what is expected from the project to be performed by the contractor. This might include the employer's aim, the method to be used, the software, the required output. This will ensure the right team who are able to deliver these properly will award the contract. And what might also be included in commercial requirements would be BIM-specific competence assessment. As in case one did, since competence of the BIM team has a direct impact in all BIM-related procedures, it's better to provide a criteria in here to eliminate the not sufficient teams maybe, and this would be a great step to achieve the aims in the end. To conclude our presentation today, an effective EIR has several benefits as it improves productivity in terms of budget and duration, and it contributes to effective management of the operation of built facility at lower cost in the end, and also it improves the quality of the facility itself by improving the processes in design and construction. And if EIR will be prepared according to different metro projects in Turkey, it should be based on operating companies of different projects. What I mean is there are many different operating companies in Turkey depending on cities, and they use different systems and they have different procedures, and these EIR should be addressing their individual needs and individual operating scenarios depending on the company itself. And while preparing this document, the aspects discussed within the study should be detailed with the aim of having a comprehensive document in the end that will have organization-wide standards and provide them at each project, and maybe customizing depending on project needs, but applying to all at once. If one wants to select one of the three cases that were examined in here as a reference document, case 3 would be the most suitable one, as it is from a mega project and it covers the most comprehensive, covers in the most comprehensive manner. So what might be done to expand these studies would be approaching EIR from a more local point of view. This would be customizing these needs based on local practices and local conditions, and maybe making interviews with the employers and end users of the facilities to emphasize the industry needs and the problems that they encounter due to lack of AER, and further elaboration depending on their needs and their requirements. Thank you for your kind attention.